Welcome to Ken's Corner Podcast, Season 2. It's time. Are you ready? Now here we go with your host, Ken Judge.
Hi everyone, this is Ken from Ken's Corner, and I'm here with my special guest, professional wrestler Jessika Black. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. And how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm here talking to you first, and then I'm going to watch my beloved Toronto Maple Leafs play some hockey tonight. I
Ooh,
know, I know you're from Montreal, Quebec, so I know we have a little bit of a difference in taste of hockey there, but that's okay.
I can't blame you for, being born in Toronto. It's okay. Or in Ontario.
And vice versa. I tell your friend Jacques Rougeau the same thing all the time. Okay, we're going to go back to the beginning of when you became a professional wrestler. Can you tell us about how it started, when it started, and where it started?
Sure. So it started pretty late in my life. I started really late in my life. I think I was I'll just say I was over 25 years old when I started, because it was just something that I feel when I was a kid and I was watching wrestling and I loved wrestling. I just never saw myself doing it because I never saw myself represented in the sense of like women. The women that I saw being like on TV and WWE wasn't what I was able to relate to. And the older I got, and the more women's wrestling got popular, and especially in the TNA knockouts era, I started thinking, you know what? Like, I love this. It's like I keep seeing this. I keep thinking like I could do this, and I was like, who cares what my age is? Let me try and do this. I found the a local school in Montreal, torture chamber, and I signed up. I went for a tryout and I was like, let's see how it feels. And literally, like, I was ready. I was hooked after the first session, and then started from there. And I put a lot of time and effort into it.
That's amazing. Can you share some of your memories from your early matches?
Oh well, stress. I think so. My first match was I'm very I was very lucky that when I started training, there was another woman training also that had started at around the same time as me, Stacy Thibault, and so we got to have our first match in front of a crowd together, which was really cool because it was like we were training partners, we knew each other really well, so it was cool to share that with her. And then going out into like the independent scene, and seeing the different levels of experience, levels of talent out there was really stressful because I didn't really know what to expect. But I knew, and I do think I was properly trained. I knew what I brought to the table. So it's just like I just got to be me. But I was really stressed to be like, how are people gonna react and stuff like that. But I'm a professional. I pushed through it. I had some bad experiences, some good experiences, but honestly, mostly all good. Like women in general are really supportive of each other, and we have to be because we're a minority in here.
Yeah,
So yeah, no, it went really well, and I met some really cool people along the way.
that's great. That's great. Now, I'm going to take you to the year of 2022 and how you actually heard about Wrestling Academy, or in Montreal, you would say Loot Academy 2022. How did you get involved with that?
So yeah, Jacques Rougeau started, I guess, scouting some talent, and he started coming to independent shows. So he was at, I don't remember which one exactly it was, that he was at one of the shows that I was doing, and he started talking about it, and he reconnected with Jeremy, because he was Jeremy's first trainer. So that put a lot of again, connected the dots for us kind of thing. And he just told us about the project, and it just seemed really interesting. Like, why not join this competition? It's a good opportunity to like wrestle different people, and just test your skills kind of thing. And so we, like, Jeremy and I joined, and it was a roller coaster of a ride. The emotions, I would have never thought how intense the whole process would be. Just because I surprised myself at how much I truly, really wanted to win, and how much work I was willing to like put into it. And just the roller coaster of emotions from each round, from the different opponents, and just that it was I cannot stress how such a special and unique experience it is. Someone, KL Shock, in the competition said, he's like, it's the first time that wrestling feels real, because we were in the ring and like we were truly competing against the other person. Regardless of like winning or losing the match, there was like, it wasn't just like we're putting on a match together. Yes, we're putting on a match together, but you still want to show all your best stuff. You want to like outshine the other person. So it was very, it was weird, but it was lots of emotions, huge roller coaster. And I really would suggest that people really consider it like as something really interesting to do, because I truly believe it made me a better wrestler.
Well, you in fact did advance right through that tournament, and actually shared the circle, the winner's circle, with Jeremy Prophet. Take us to that moment and how that felt for you.
That was surreal. So I had the last match, the finals match with Cece, and she's such a great wrestler and such a good human being, and I was so happy to share that with her. And it was bittersweet, because I really do feel she's like she wanted to win, I wanted to win, we both wanted to win, but like I think like we developed, like being through that together, we developed some kind of like connection there. And so it was bittersweet, but I can't lie, I was super happy to win. I had put so much work into it. And then Jeremy's met, and it was really like, I remember even telling my friends after, I was like, I feel like this is the first time in my life that I put so much work into, and then I can see like the direct result right away. It's not like a long term, like I'm putting work into training, and like, a year down the line, I'll be like, all right, like now I look good. It's direct, like I did all the work, and like here's the reward. And so that felt really awesome. But then Jeremy was right after, and we had talked about it together, and we're like, best case scenario was we both win, but worst case scenario was one of us win and the other one doesn't. It was either like we both wanted to win or we both didn't want to win, because the idea of like, just going to the Nightmare Factory and all that stuff, we wanted to do it together. So it was, so I went back through the curtain, and Jeremy was there. He was on deck ready to go. And he said that he didn't hear anything. They couldn't hear what was going on. So he actually didn't know that I had won. So when I came back through the curtain, and he was just kind of like a little like, well, what happened? And I'm like, I got it. And he's like, and he said, then he's like, it went all business for him, because then he had no choice. He's like, all right, it's up to me. He's got to go. Like, he was way more confident than I was, and then because he's just a way more confident person than I am. But still, it was like, it got real. And I remember watching his match, and I went to join my family, and I was watching the match with my dad, and I was telling my dad, I was like, he has to win. And my dad's like, oh no, he's good. But he's like, oh, but Matt Sis there, he's doing really well. And he's like, I don't know. And we were like, I know he's doing like his opponent's doing really well. And we're like, oh my God. But he pushed through, and it was really, it was one of those moments that I'll never forget, like that we got to live that together. And I'm really thankful for that.
That's amazing, amazing story. Now, you spoke of the Nightmare Factory. Can you give us a little bit of insight on your training there and some of the great trainers you had there? You and both Jeremy.
It was, again, I'm so thankful, because it's an experience that I would have never had that experience. Leaving for 3 months, like our home, and going to the States and going to Atlanta, and being in a completely different environment. Being able to do that with Jeremy was great. And then being able to learn from Cody, QT, and Billy Gunn I felt so grateful. And I always say this, and that I was surprised that the person that I feel I learned the most from was Billy Gunn. And and again, just because I never pictured him as a trainer. like his on-screen character have always been super entertaining.
Yes,
He's
he
been,
is.
like, decades of wrestling. The experience that he's had is crazy. But to when we met him, and I was like, it was like really, he's one of the few people I've been intimidated by, because he's really big and he really has a lot of energy. but then just like hearing him talk and focusing on certain of the details that he would focus on, I was just like, wow, this makes a lot of sense. And it's like, of course it makes a lot of sense. This guy knows what he's doing, clearly. And I was really just thankful. And I really do feel that I kept a lot of good insight from him. And again, not to take away from Cody and QT. Cody was awesome. It was a blast to train with him and do promo class with him. And QT was really good at like focusing on again, the details and just putting things together. It was just so fun because that's what we were doing. Like we were there, and 24 hours a day, it was wrestling. We were training 6 times a week. That's all we were there for. There was nothing else on my mind. It was just wrestling. I didn't have to worry about work. I didn't have to worry about anything else. That's all it was. And I mean, how can you not get better when that's all you're doing? And again, that's all your energy is towards. So it was really great. And we met a lot of cool people. We met a lot of cool people, had a lot of good experiences, and yeah, it was just great.
Okay, so from the Nightmare Factory in your training, I believe you went on to having an actual match in AEW with Jeremy Prophet. Can you walk us through that match and how it ended and how the feeling was just being on that stage that night?
It was great. So it was in Toronto, and it was the first time AEW was in Canada. So we got to the venue. We're getting ready. We don't really know what, like, if we're going to get a match, what the situation is. We're just kind of getting ready. We're taking promo pictures. And then then when Captain Sean Dean came to tell us that we was going to be a mixed tag, I uncharacteristically, I'm usually a very calm person, but it was such a how lucky am I that I get to do this and I get to share it again with Jeremy. I was just like so thankful. And then we find out that we're the first match. So it was like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like a little nervous because we have like less time. But we met up with Kip and Penelope, and they were awesome. They were amazing. They were so welcoming, open to a bunch of ideas, and they made things so easy. And then the fact that we were the first match, it was just like, I honestly didn't really have time to get nervous. And then realizing that it's like, whoa, like we are we're the first AEW match in Canada, and we're like, that's really cool. And we went out on the stage, and I was just like, I don't even this is just cool. This is just fun. This is what we've trained for. This is what I worked for. And no matter what happens, I'm just gonna have fun and enjoy this moment. And it was a lot of fun, and it went super well. And there is a funny moment. I do have a funny story. So we were there, and we were on our way to Gorilla to go to the match. And Jeremy is a huge Christian fan. And when we were walking to Gorilla, Christian was walking away from Gorilla, and I'm like, oh no, Jeremy's gonna stop and want to talk to Christian, but we have to go now. We're on deck. And I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. And I turn around, and he had stopped following me, and he's just having a conversation with Christian. And I'm like, I'm going with him or without him. I'm like, he'll have to join us. And anyway, he ended up joining us. But it was it was just one of those moments that Jeremy had to take a moment to stop, because he's a huge Christian fan. And it was just funny because I was like, this is the worst time for him to. But it was again.
That's an amazing story. Christian is a hero to a lot of us up here in Canada for sure. And I agree with Jeremy. I would have been stopping too. Sorry to tell you. Next thing I wanted to ask you is about your social media outlets. Where can your fans find Jessika Black?
So Jessika Black. So Jessika Black Iron on Instagram, Jessika E Black on X, and I believe it's just Jessika Black on Facebook. Yeah, and I'll be honest, I am not the most social media person. But I try to play the game as much as possible, but it's not my biggest strong suit, but it is really important in the business. But please follow me. I post all my upcoming matches. I help promote anyone that again that helps promote me. So yeah, please follow me.
That's awesome. Now you're saying that you post your matches. It's actually going to be my final question here. Can you share a few of your upcoming events?
Yeah, well, actually, I'll just, before I share the upcoming event, an event just got posted. The Femme Fatale show just got posted and is available online. It happened last month, November 11th, and is now, I believe it's available free. And there's a great match there, and there's a great roster of women that you can go see. I have a match against Smiley Miley, and it's a great little fun thing. I'm also wrestling tomorrow at BCW in Quebec, and I have a couple matches coming up again in Quebec with BEW, and I have something else in, I believe, Niagara Falls that is not yet announced, coming up next weekend. So I will be in Ontario soon.
That's awesome. We're looking forward to seeing you, Jessika Black, here in Ontario. Now, this is the part where my dog decided to bark, but sorry about that. I'm a proud owner of dogs and cats, so sometimes they join me here.
I love
That's awesome. Anyway, I'm going to leave this part to you. Do you for any final thoughts, any final words from Jessika Black?
Well, one, thank you for you, the podcast, you, the fans, for helping support independent wrestling and helping support women's independent wrestling. It's something dear to my heart. I really do want to help women's wrestling, and I want to help women in general find their confidence and find their shine and be able to go on there and shine and show that we can be there with the best of them. So thank you for supporting us, and I will keep trying to entertain.
You do all the time, Jessika. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. My name's Ken, and I'm from Ken's Corner, and I've been on with professional wrestler and Loot Academy 2022 female winner, Jessika Black. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.